The Dragon Ball franchise is full of cold-hearted warriors and evil villains. Then there's Goku, who's so obsessed with fighting that some fans think he may be borderline sociopathic, despite his friendly demeanor. That's why everybody loves Gohan. He's the nicest guy in the Dragon Ball universe. Whether he's befriending aliens or acting as a great dad, Gohan is quite the role model, though he's not always as he appears. In fact, there are several times when this nice guy was actually a pretty horrible person. He may appear like a saint on the outside, but he has some serious skeletons in his closet. So let's take a deep look at the life of Gohan and see who he really is. Here are all the times Gohan was a terrible person. Parties in the Dragon Ball universe get weird. In the real world, it's traumatizing when a cat god crashes a party that then gets interrupted by a child who's holding another child at gunpoint. The Dragon Ball gang apparently thought this was hilarious after-dinner entertainment. Though to be fair, Kid Trunks is probably bulletproof. Gohan got the biggest kick out of this little show. He jumped up in his great Saiyaman costume and decided to help Trunks and his friends with their hostage negotiation play. Because what kids don't play that game? Gohan looks at this child and encourages her to empty the pistol at him. He then laughs as he deflects the bullets away with his finger. While this is safe for Gohan, he apparently didn't know much about bullet ricochets. One of the bullets whizzed through the air and hits his pregnant wife Videl in the leg. Then just to literally add insult to injury, Roshi offers to give Videl mouth to help her bullet wound. Ugh. Because what could possibly be a better time for creepy humor than when a guy's terrified because his wife just got shot in the leg? The situation is even worse than that. The only reason Gohan acted so irrationally is that he hit the party punch a little too hard. Didn't anybody ever tell you not to drink in superhero Gohan? To think that you considered yourself a role model? During the Golden Frieza arc, Gohan got owned like he was Krillin. This was a pretty epic blow for fans of the character who hoped that he would one day take his father's place as the main warrior of Earth. Since we last saw him at the end of Dragon Ball Z, Gohan neglected his training entirely. Instead, he devoted his life to being a good family man. When Goku offered to let Gohan compete with him in the Tournament of Power, Gohan initially refuses. He hadn't talked to Videl, and his job would require more of him in the coming weeks. Goku hilariously doesn't seem to understand this whole checking in with his family concept at all. Eventually, Gohan does get back into warrior condition, but he's still a far cry from how awesome he was during the Cell Saga. What was his real crime though? Why did he wear that horrible tracksuit? His silly Great Saiyaman costume looks super tough by comparison. The tough as nails Gohan from future Trunks' timeline would be so ashamed, though our Gohan still has both his arms, so who's to say which one is the winner? When Vegeta and Nappa came to Earth, it was all hands on deck for the Z-Fighters. Everyone from Piccolo to Yajirobe was called in to help defend the planet against the Saiyan invaders. Gohan was taken under the tutelage of Master Piccolo, whose training style differed from most other teachers that we've seen in the series. King Kai and Master Roshi weren't big on having their pupils run away from bloodthirsty dinosaurs. Roshi was more of a shark kind of guy. Say what you will, but is there any better motivation to do some cardio? If Piccolo ever had any interest in franchising his training style, CrossFit would be a thing of the past. Once the Saiyans finally arrived, it didn't take long for the fight to turn against our heroes. Chaozu, Yamcha, and Tien all lost their lives pretty early on in the proceedings. This left only Piccolo, Krillin, and Gohan to square off against the scary Saiyan duo. When faced with the giant bald warrior Nappa, Gohan panicked and ran away. He abandoned Piccolo and Krillin to take on Nappa without any assistance. Eventually, Gohan got into the fight, but it wasn't before Nappa had slapped Piccolo and Krillin around a while. Still, it's hard to get over Piccolo's glare of shame that his pupil was acting in such a cowardly way. What 5-year-old child runs away from a fight with a monstrously powerful space pirate who just blew up a city? Come on, Gohan. How many times has this happened in the Dragon Ball franchise? A hero squares off against the arc's new villain with new power. He clearly is able to outmatch the villain with ease. Instead of destroying the villain quickly though, he dances around the monster until they gain a new power level. Then our hero gets beaten to a bloody pulp. You'd think the Z-Fighters would have learned by now. While Goku and Vegeta are the ones who make this mistake the most, Gohan has done it more than once. When he took on Super Buu after getting a major power-up, he obviously outmatched the monster in every way. He could have ended the entire saga right then and there by blasting the pink menace into nothing. Instead, he decided to make Buu suffer. Buu, who obviously attended the Dragon Ball villain training seminar, took this opportunity to absorb Gotenks and Piccolo. Buu is now armed with the power of 2 combined Saiyans and the mind of the only Dragon Ball character who acts intelligently. Gohan then gets creamed by the new and improved Buu. Luckily, his dad arrives to save him for the 100th time, and even throws him a Potara earring so the two confuse and destroy Buu. Of course, Gohan fails to catch the earring and is then absorbed by Buu. This is really sad, considering the fact that this was probably the closest he ever came to playing catch with his father. Let's face it, poor Chichi just doesn't have a great life. She spends most of her time in the series watching from the sidelines as her husband and children battle the forces of evil. You'd think that something small like wanting the family farm to be maintained wouldn't be too much to ask. Apparently it is, though. During Goku's training session with Gohan, his training session with the Great Saiyaman, things got pretty intense. Both heroes went full Super Saiyan and blasted a mountain in two. What they failed to consider was that that mountain was right above their field, the field that Chichi just plowed. She freaked out on the two warriors and scared them worse than Frieza ever did. At least they made a better choice the next time they trained together. The two found a nice desolate spot in the mountains where they could safely blow things up without any worries, so at least Chichi got to keep her farm intact that day. Piccolo took on training young Gohan, but found himself out of his depth when the full moon came out. Apparently, the other characters didn't give him the memo about all those times Goku turned into a mindless King Kong monster. You'd think that Bulma would have a welcome package that would tell newcomers to the group all about the whole giant ape thing. Instead, he had to find out the hard way. He was horrified when he saw little Gohan grow into the terrifying Great Ape. It was the first time we really saw Piccolo lose his cool. The monster went on a rampage that could have just been as threatening to Earth as the Saiyan invasion. Luckily, Piccolo was able to destroy the moon and cut off young Gohan's tail. Then he used this bizarre I-beam tailor power to fashion Gohan brandy new clothes. Do all Namekians just have the power to make clothes with their eyes? You'd think they'd have a better fashion sense. After that, Piccolo calmed down and wasn't so afraid of his pupil. The Great Ape even ended up saving their bacon during their confrontation with Vegeta. Luckily, those tails grow back fast. The Tournament of Power was more than just another tournament. It was a competition to see which universe would survive and which others would be destroyed. So the ethics of rooting for our heroes was a little odd for the first time in Dragon Ball history. Sure, we wanted our heroes to save their universe, but doing so meant the obliteration of many others. We were essentially rooting for them to indirectly commit mass genocide with every team they defeated. We just tried not to think about how our heroes were pulling a Thanos and wiping out billions and trillions and quadrillions out of existence. This got kinda hard when our team took on Universe 10. Obuni drops a locket on his way out of the ring that reveals pictures of his family. This puts fans up close and personal with the high cost the losers have to pay. It's easy to think of characters like Frost or Jiren ceasing to exist, but Obuni's cute little kids is a totally different story. Warriors like Vegeta and Piccolo are known for being kinda cold, but Gohan's different. He's always been portrayed as a sensitive soul who makes fast friends with aliens and strange creatures with no problem. Of all the characters in the series, he probably possesses the most empathy. That's why it's so strange that he was unmoved by that locket. It blinks out of existence, and after just a moment of silence, he was ready to continue on with the tourney. This is especially crazy considering the fact that he'd just become a daddy. Wouldn't the guy see Baby Pan's face in that locket that was just erased? Perhaps he was thinking of protecting his daughter the entire time. It's easier to block out emotions when your wife and child's lives are on the line. Still, this proved that despite Gohan's new persona as a goofy family man, he's become much darker than the happy-go-lucky child that he was. I'll bet it had to do with Cell. Cell really did a number on that kid. There's little doubt that Videl and Gohan have the best marriage in the series. When your biggest competition is Krillin's marriage to a formerly evil android, it's not super hard. Although they are very cute and love each other very, very much. The marriages of Vegeta and Bulma, and especially Goku and Chichi, definitely are not competing for the best relationship trophy. It hasn't been all sunshine and roses for Videl and Gohan, though. Aside from the odd bullet wound, there was this one time that Gohan was almost a part of a massive scandal. Once Gohan finds out that filmmakers are making a movie about the Great Saiyaman, he becomes obsessed with it. He and Videl visit the set where Videl's hit on by Saiyaman star Barry Kahn. She rejects his advances as Gohan works to join the stunt crew. This is pretty impressive considering the fact that Barry Kahn is basically the Dragon Ball equivalent to Brad Pitt. Turning him down is a pretty epic move on Videl's part. Gohan gets on the film and wows them with his skills. He ends up starring in more of the film than Barry did. He even gets closer to famous co-star Coco. The two of them get really close when she makes a move on him one night. Gohan does not reject her advances quite as strongly as Videl did with Barry's. He eventually breaks it off and flies straight home, but not before Barry took a snapshot of the moment. He then takes it to Videl in order to shame Gohan. Instead of getting mad though, Videl rips the photos up and throws him out of the house. She knows that Gohan is 100% committed to their family and does not doubt him for a second. This conclusively proves that she's the best wife ever. Gohan should be way more careful because he will never do better. There aren't a lot of sweet family moments in Dragon Ball Z. That's why it's so sad to see one get ruined. During the Cell Saga, our heroes take a break from training so that Gohan can have an 11th birthday party. His mother and grandfather throw him a small celebration at home, complete with homemade birthday cake. The only problem is that Gohan's a Super Saiyan now. He is way more powerful than he is used to. Even his breath has gotten an upgrade. He tries to blow out the candles, but instead blows the entire cake away. Your mother slaved over that cake, you little monster! Cell was one of the greatest threats the Earth had ever seen. He had the DNA of several of the planet's greatest heroes and villains. Not only that, but he absorbed the other androids and had achieved his perfect form. So things got pretty epic when the fully powered Super Saiyan 2 Gohan took him on. It's considered to be one of the best fights in the entire franchise, but it almost went real bad for our heroes. He could have ended the match quickly, but because he didn't, Cell threatened to self-destruct. Disaster was only averted because Goku took him away. It cost his father's life and nearly destroyed the whole planet. Hope that final Kamehameha wave was worth it, Gohan. And there you have it, all the times Gohan wasn't the nice guy he wants you to think he is. That being said, he's still a pretty good guy. Compared to Vegeta and Piccolo, he's basically warm tomato soup as a person. So which Gohan moment is your favorite? Which one do you hate? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more from CBR. Man, I got a really bad craving for grilled cheese and tomato soup.